things just keep getting crazier this offseason for the Houston Rockets as they are seemingly in the mix of acquiring Trae Young as well. And we're going to give you all the details as to what is happening in Atlanta and if it could even have an effect on what this roster looks like next year for the 2025-2026 NBA season. Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Donovan Ricondo. We appreciate you joining us here at Rockets Digest, where we break down the latest news, rumors, and updates regarding your favorite H-Town team. We're currently having 73.1% of you watching these videos not yet subscribed. So as well, if you want to subscribe, if you want to stay up to date, stay in the loop, this is the channel for you all. But now we are going to talk about Trae Young. For those of you that don't know what's happening in Atlanta right now, it is quite the situation. We're going to start off with the tweet from Trae Young. It's a little hourglass he posted about a month ago now in reference to him not getting his max extension with Atlanta. It's been a question of whether or not they are going to give him that number. As of today, they still have not done that yet. And as you can see, Mark Spears from ESPN and Anscape said that Young is disappointed that a deal has not been offered as he went on NBA Today. And he said, what I'm hearing now at this point, and you can tell by Trae's tweet, and I saw him during the finals, I think he's disappointed that it hasn't come. It hasn't been offered. And so he continues to go about that as well. As right now, Trae Young, he can get offered a 4-year, $228.6 million max extension right now, but there also is no time crunch for the Hawks' perspectives, right? The deadline to make a deal for Trae Young is not until next year. That's June 30th, 2026. But of course, Trae Young, he is very disappointed. He put the hourglass on his Twitter. He is very, very willing to make that deal happen. But the big question is Trae Young a max player? Some say he is. Some say he isn't. If so, what is the number that would both sides would agree on? So a little malfunction at the junction there in Atlanta. And many people are comparing this to the Micah Parsons situation for all you NFL fans out there. Quick plug for Houston Texans Digest. Subscribe to that if you have not so already. We have all the updates on that as well. But Trae Young even commenting about the Micah Parsons trade. If you have a guy that wants to stay in a franchise, you go ahead and you pay that guy. You before the price goes up. And that's kind of the similar situation. I mean, Trae Young is looking for that max extension, but nevertheless, right, that is still a team that he wants to play for. From all indications, he wants to be in Atlanta. He wants to be there. He was disappointed that a deal has not been made. And this is a situation that is ongoing, being looked at by a lot of different executives in the NBA. As executives in Los Angeles, we're closely watching and monitoring the future and status of Atlanta's Trae Young. That was Shams Charania, who had reported that during a Friday appearance on NBA Today a little while ago. And so I say all of this, right? This is the Rockets channel. How does this even tie into the Rockets? How are we in the mix? And the question, or the answer to that question, is a very, pitter-pattery, right? I'm going to go and give you this right here. These are the current odds for Trae Young's next team. This is from Bovada Official. As you see there, the Orlando Magic are the favorites, who have put together a really strong team, by the way. The Brooklyn Nets are second place. Sacramento Kings, the Phoenix Suns, although I don't think anybody would want to go to Phoenix in their career, considering the trajectory that they are on. And also, would you look at that? The Houston Rockets in that 5 spot in terms of being a team that could get Trae Young. We are a plus 575. And so I want to talk about, would this even be possible? As many of you know, the Houston Rockets are currently in the luxury task just below the first apron. We are like $1 million away from getting the first apron penalty. So there's really not a whole lot of room here in terms of what GM Rafael Stone could even do to make this trade. With that being said, we are still one of the favorites, right? It's certainly possible in some aspect, but I considering the contracts and what has to go out, what has to come in, what kind of how many people on your roster do you have? It is all the assets, or do they all line up? What player has this exception? What player has that exception? And so there's not really a lot of room that Rafael Stone could do to get a deal like this done. It's appealing. It certainly is appealing if Trae Young was to be on this team. I look at him. Him and his fit for this team. The only thing that concerns me is his defense, but everything else is exactly what we would want, right? Fred VanVleet, as great as he is, right? Anytime you can swap the two, Fred for Trae, I think is a great idea. Don't necessarily think that can happen considering Fred VanVleet's new contract and what have you. But at the same time, when I look at, you know, a pairing of Trae Young and KD, as expensive as that would be and as impossible it might be to make that deal happen, that is very, very appealing for any NBA executive, right? But then I also look at it beyond KD, right? When KD is gone in 2, 3 years and Fred VanVleet's kind of getting up there in age, I look at Trae Young and I say, hey, this is actually a really good fit. We need a point guard. We need more of a presence once Fred is done. Not really going to be that guy here in Houston for a very long time. So why not, possibly look at Trae Young as a possible guy you can go after and say, hey, we would like someone a little younger who's much, much more talented at the point guard position. Why not, right? And so I look at this as flattering as it is, right? As flattering as it would be to have Trae Young on the team. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not, right? I do think Orlando being the favorite, it does make a lot of sense. And of course, the Brooklyn Nets, it also makes a lot of sense. The Houston Rockets, as is already a championship team. And the last thing you would want to do is take away that or necessarily give away the pieces that we already have, right? Why make a trade when you can just win a championship with the guys you have? A trade would involve probably getting rid of some of the key guys, the key rotation players that Rafael Stone has either went out to go get or to keep and make sure we're on the team. That includes, Jabari Smith Jr. That includes like a Dorian Finney-Smith. That includes Fred VanVleet. And of course, you have guys like Amin Thompson, who you might have to include in terms of trying to match salaries. And so it's all it's a very hard trade to do. I don't think it's even necessarily possible. But at the same time, right, it's the idea of Trae Young wearing a Rockets uniform could be, a great thing, but something down the line, right? I feel like that's something you probably won't see for the next 2 to 3 years because it's not necessarily a move that Rafael Stone has to make. He's done a great job this offseason. He has put together, in many people's eyes, a top 3 team in the NBA. I think the Thunder, the Nuggets, and the Rockets are teams that you look at them right now as is, and you're like, wow, these teams can all have a chance at winning the championship next season. It's kind of unfortunate for the Rockets that all those teams are, in fact, in the Western Conference. So one of those teams will not make the conference finals and be bounced in the semifinals or first round. Probably not semifinals. But nevertheless, right, like this team for this offseason seems to be wrapped up, right? This seems to be, pretty much done. Yes, this is very appealing. You look at this and you go, oh, okay, how could this happen? But at the same time, I don't think it's meant to be, at least right now. And I look at the stats, it's all very flattering. 24 points, 3 rebounds, 11, Jesus Louise, 11 assists. 11 assists. I mean, it doesn't get much better than this in terms of a point guard who can lead you to at least a conference finals, right? I mean, Trae Young was able to do that with Atlanta, which was very, very surprising the year he did it. And so he did that about 4 years ago now, 3, 4 years ago at age 23, 22. And so he's 26, still very young and very flattering, very, very flattering, but at the same time, a very far-fetched trade. If Stone pulled this off in some capacity down the line, I mean, we would applaud because we would be getting a fantastic player. But as of right now, what was the number here? It was a plus 575, which is like, okay, we'll see what happens. Well, of course, if anything changes with that whole scenario, we're going to give you all of the updates right here on Rockets Digest. But we just thought that was a very interesting new update in terms of the betting world. If you are a better person, that is quite the bet to make. A Trae Young to Houston is a pretty insane thing. And so with that, I want to get all back to you guys. What do you think Rafael Stone's next move is going to be. Let me know down in the comments. And again, if you're not yet subscribed, go ahead. And if you want to stay in the loop of all your Rockets content, this is the channel for you guys right here on YouTube. This content is absolutely free. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button below. I've been your host, Donovan Ricondo. You take care now. Bye-bye.